Shalom Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth and righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers out here teaching this truth. And always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. This video is going to be about how we are slowly but surely being engineered into being robots. Y'all already know about the CHIP, the MOTB, but think about the process to get there. Right now, being championed by the Democrat Party, I hate to say. Well, I don't hate to say it, but I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, oh, he's conservative. I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. We're Hebrew Israelites. We're none of that shit. But people, primarily Democrats are going, trying to make us into sexless. We don't have a gender. No gender roles. You identify as whatever you want to identify as. What that's going to turn into is literally, human beings won't be considered to have a gender. With all the hormones and all the shit that they're putting in our foods, they're fucking up our sex drives and shit like that too. So we're going to eventually, if you let this agenda continue, which the Lord isn't, but if humans were to allow this agenda to continue, we're going to be almost literal robots. We're not going to have a sex. We're not going to have sex. Go. Fuck. Damn, people are stupid. Ugh. But anyway, we're not going to have a gender. We're just going to be, chipped up. We're not going to have political beliefs. Because that's what happens when you have people fighting and killing each other over political beliefs. Then the alternative to that is, hey, nobody should have any beliefs. While we're at it with political beliefs, hey, let's eliminate religion. Because everybody is knocking every other religion, saying every other religion is false. So let's knock all religions. Because people are getting out of hand. That's pretty much what's happening. Religion is going to be destroyed if the Lord weren't going to cut this agenda short. Religion, gender, politics. You can't have your own fucking beliefs. People are doing the same things over football teams that they do over fucking religions. You want to fight over a fucking Dallas Giants, Eagles. Let's fight. Let me hook off on this person because they have a fucking Giants jersey. Let me pull a gun on this nigga because he's wearing a Giants jersey in Philadelphia. Oh, let me pull a gun on this Muslim for walking around with his longs on. I forgot what the actual formal name in Islam is, but walking around with the longs in a Christian city. This is the world. This is what this political and religious extremism is going to lead to. And then you have the gender. The things that humanity is fighting over right now, those are the things that the so-called powers that be are going to look to eliminate. So that we can go and single-mindedly serve them and their agendas and the things that they want for the rest of humanity. They're not giving up their religion, their sex, their politics. And by sex, I mean gender. Or their sex, period. They're going to take the finest of the fucking chipped up robot women or men, because they're sodomites, and they're going to have all types of sex with them, and them robots are not going to know that they just got fucking gang raped by a bunch of old white men. This is the agenda. This is the way the world is pushing. You're not going to have fucking favorite football teams. There's not going to be none of that shit, because there's going to be no need to entertain the masses. Think about that. Football, rap concerts, rock concerts, K-pop, all that shit is to entertain the masses so that they're not focused on the agenda. There's going to be no need for that shit. There's a push for a one world government, a one world religion, a one world race. In the movie Bulworth, as much as I hate to in the movie Bulworth says, oh, the way we eliminate racism is by everybody fucking each other till we're all one color. That's part of their agenda. They want, well, really the one color they want is Edomite. The problem is you can't fuck with black and brown people and get a fucking pure white cracker. But these are all agendas of this world. This is all things that are being engineered. They're trying to create slaves out of the masses. Mindless slaves. That's what the C-HIP is about. And if they get their way, which they're not, because the Lord is going to stop them, but if they were to get their way, they would have a perfect rule over everything and everybody. Because that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to rule the world that way. But anyway, that's it. Just had a thought. Because humans are being engineered to become robots. Look at the workplace today, right? Look at the typical call center. Because black, Hispanic, and even white people are very Americans, period, really. Anybody in America has been conditioned to be emotional creatures. We had to put call centers in India and China because they're less emotional over there. You can call them all types of fucking names and they're not going to have a reaction. Whereas the typical American is going to have a reaction. That's why call centers have moved out of America. Now you got motherfuckers proctoring standardized tests from India. Don't even understand what the fuck they're saying, but you gotta listen to them tell you how you're gonna take this test. Just because they technically speak English, but they don't speak your English. Because that's the thing, like, the Indian people actually speak better English than white people in America. Their English is actually better, but it's not the English we speak. In America, we tend to think that this English that we speak in America is the best English, just because it's American. The truth of the matter is, in England, who better than England to decide who speaks better English? Well, the closer to the English that they speak in England is India. Not us in America. We speak, the movie Outsourced, I think the movie was called Outsourced. It highlighted, there was a scene where it says, the person's like, you know how you guys say internet? To get you to speak like Americans, you got to say internet. So the lady's like, well, one of the workers is like, but it has a T there. Proper English is to say internet. And the guy's like, don't worry about being proper or correct. Worry about being American or sounding like an American. That's how crazy it is, man. We're being engineered to become like robots right before our very eyes, and we don't even know it. Look at these young people. Look at fucking Tariq from Power. Look how he talks. He talks like a fucking robot. Look at these young people. I work with a kid You know, his father's Mexican, but he was raised here. Man, that motherfucker sounds like a robot when he speaks. These young kids sound like fucking mumbling robots. My ex has twins. The girl sounds like these young robots. You know, but anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.